guys, it's Joy here from Directions for Youth and Families, and I hope you're all staying safe and you're all staying healthy. Today I'm going to help you stay creative during quarantine, and I want to teach you about Aboriginal Dot Art. So Aboriginal Dot Art is actually a form of Aboriginal art, and to understand what this kind of is, I'm going to tell you about Aboriginal people. The Aboriginal people were the first people to live in Australia thousands of years ago. So think of how Native Americans were the first people to settle in America. Well, in Australia, they were called the Aboriginal people. They communicated by drawing. These drawings were more maps and stories. They used natural ingredients such as berries and soil, and they drew in the sand, the dirt, and on caves. Within the stories and the maps that they drew, there would also be symbols. This was a way the Aboriginal people could communicate with each other. These symbols were religious symbols, or they represented the sun and the moon, etc. As the years went by, more people started coming to live in Australia. So the Aboriginal art also progressed with that. They still stayed true to using Australian culture, and they were painting landscapes and animals, but they were using new methods like watercolor. Aboriginal dot art was actually introduced in 1971. A man named Jeffrey Barden was a teacher for the Aboriginal people, and he saw all the Aboriginal art and all the traditions and all the culture that they were using in their paintings. He decided to introduce them to acrylic and canvas. This was more of a Western way of painting. The Aboriginal people enjoyed this method, but they were worried that the Western people would identify their symbols, and they wanted to keep their culture pure to them. So in order to hide these symbols on the canvas, they broke down their lines and shapes into dots and smaller lines. That way these symbols would not be understood by the Western people. And now you know all about Aboriginal dot art and where it came from. So behind me you see some paintings and drawings that I did to create my own Aboriginal dot art. I'm going to take you through some ideas and methods that I used to help you and create your own.
These two pieces I wanted to look more traditional, so I used acrylic paint and canvas. I painted the canvas black, and I actually used a Q-tip to help me paint the dots more precise by dipping it in the paint and then back onto the canvas. Like in Aboriginal dot art, the dots are making the shape, so you can see my dots making lines and different circles like you'd see on a map. Then I also did one in marker just to show you that you can do this without paint as well. For this one, I was inspired by symbols. I wanted to symbolize the earth, water, and sun. So for the earth, I used green and made my lines look like grass. For the water, I used blue and made my lines look like waves. For the sun, I used oranges and yellows and made it into a circular shape. I also decided to fill in the entire page for this one. For this piece, I was inspired by Australian culture and their love for animals, so I drew a turtle and I used the dots and the lines as a background. For this last piece, I decided to go really trendy with it, and I used my initial. I used the dots and the circles more as a decoration and as a background, and now I have something really fun to add to my bedroom wall.
I hope you guys had fun learning about Aboriginal dot art, and I hope these new methods really influence the work you're going to create during this quarantine. Stay creative, guys, stay safe, and thank you so much for watching.